Hello and welcome to another episode of the Women Can Do Show. This is a special edition of the Women Can Do Show. In this episode, so many of you may have watched, have tuned in. You may have already watched our all new podcast series, which is a special edition of our show called Bridging the Gap. So, as you all know, part of our mission at I Can Do organization is to bring the next generation forward. And the best way we can do that is by bridging the gap. So I had this idea back in November for my son and I to do a podcast together. And so those of you who don't know, this is my son, Rashad.
How's everybody doing out there? Much
He
love and
is
blessings. Peace and blessings.
he was doing the podcasting thing before me. He has a podcast called Culture Chronicles with Shad. It was a highly rated podcast. He had it before the pandemic, so stay tuned because that's coming back. So I had the idea for us to kind of do a show together, and part of it, the idea was to kind of shed light on the gaps between generational gaps, gender gaps, cultural gaps, gaps between communities. And so I felt that it would be a good idea because we are two different genders and we are two different generations. So I presented the idea to him and asked him to produce the show because for those who don't know, he also works behind the scenes for my show, for this show, for the Women Can Do show as a producer. So it was perfect for him to produce that Bridge the Gap series. So what we did, we dropped a teaser, it was one episode with two parts. 2 weeks ago, we dropped part one, and 2 weeks ago on a Saturday. This past Saturday, we dropped part two, and we have received great reviews. We kind of just wanted to try it out and see if it's really something that the people not only wanted, but needed. Like, we know that there's a need for this conversation. We know that we need to create spaces for these real conversations, right? So, of course, I decided to use my platform to start to do that. And so, of course, my son was on board. He drafted the whole show for us. We had our special guest, which is my nephew Malik, who was also a part of our I Can Do production team. Shout out to Malik, the Mech. And then our cousin Kanya, we brought her on as well. So there were three generations, and we were talking about generational gaps. It was a very informative, a very empowering episode. So thank you to all of those who tuned in because we did get a lot of views. It's still up on our YouTube channel, so let's get those views up and help us get some subscribers because we have more to come and we're excited about it. So I said all that to say I'm going to introduce you all to my son, Rashad, who actually produced this series, and he already has the next episodes lined up. So we'll be sitting on the couches again for more conversations about bridging the gap. So first, I want to ask you, Rashad, how did you think I thought it turned out great. Of course, when we're there and we're in it, so you don't really get to take it all in until we air it and we watch it. So what were your thoughts on that two-part episode?
Well, first, it was amazing. It just seemed like everything was just aligned. It just seemed like it was just one of those days where everything just kind of just flowed like water. And I just think more than anything, one of the first things I did notice was the camaraderie, the chemistry that we passed around to each other for it to be our first episode, first and second episode. I think we did pretty good. Looking back on it, because the first part, I'm like, okay, that was good. But I felt like, I don't know if it was just me, but I felt like we ain't settled in yet. And so when we did the second part, I remember leaving the studio that day. I just kept saying it. So I'm like, man, I think that second part is we were really settled in. We were,
Yeah.
and so when I go watch it now, and I'm just looking at everybody's, their statements and their opinions, and it was just so prolific. And it's not to say that the first episode we wasn't killing it. We was killing it the first episode, but that
Yeah.
second
For
one,
sure.
I felt it was more thought out. We put more detail into it,
Hmm.
and the bounce off each other was more smooth,
Yeah.
which I expected,
Yeah.
because we had been there already about an hour or so. So
Yeah. And you know what it was about the first episode, the second episode, we got deeper into the conversation, and
yeah,
that's like
yeah,
with
yeah,
any
there we go.
conversation,
Yeah,
right? So that's like with any conversation. When you start off, you're just kind of, just kind of talking in
right,
general. Everybody's kind of giving their take on it. But
yeah,
when we really, when you really kind of led us into these different, scenarios and these different topics, that's what drove the conversation deeper, and you did an excellent job at
thank
moderator.
you,
I have
thank you.
received so many texts and
Yeah,
calls about my sunshine and how well he did. But of course, he is not new to this. Like I said,
yeah,
I'm piggybacking off of him. He was doing it before me. So
yeah, and
I get my podcasting
yeah,
tips from him. But
yeah,
again, we you it was an excellent job. You
yeah.
put it together, you had everything lined out ahead of time. You really did an excellent job producing
Thank
that
you,
episode,
thank you.
and I'm just excited. So how, as you
Thank you.
were planning, as you were preparing, what is your like what was your process as you were preparing this, right? Because again, like you're not new to this. I mean, you had your own podcast. You would write,
Yeah,
you can do like, I remember you had like 5 shows,
yeah, already ready. Yeah,
already ready before
yeah,
you even started, right? Before you launched it.
yeah,
Um, so, but with this one, I think it was kind of different because it was more like a panel, and it was
yeah.
like, whereas with you, it was just you on your, podcast.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Sometimes you would have a guest, right? But
Yeah,
here it was a panel, and we're talking about really a much needed conversation. So, what was your
yeah.
process in preparing for that?
Uh, like for me personally, especially at the age I'm at now, 32. Uh, I base a lot of my stuff off experience,
Yeah,
just experience. Kind of how we remember on I don't know if that was the first or second part where you mentioned how you wanted to be different as a parent than what your parents was, so you would let me go to the parties, let me
yeah,
kind
yeah,
of.
yeah,
My dad was the same way. He wanted me to kind of see what's out there so I can know what I'm doing when I'm out there, and by myself.
yeah.
And that and that's why I kind of piggybacked on that. It said, but the environments that y'all put me in,
Right.
it helped me to not only come up with good instincts or um just kind of knowing when to be somewhere, when not to be somewhere, not being in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Yeah,
But also there was a lot of diversity in a lot of places that y'all placed me.
yeah,
So I
for sure.
learned different things, and so
Yeah,
there was such an influence for me where it made me think smarter.
yeah,
And then of course now, with my son, your grandson Ryan, it's even I'm even more calculated, smarter. And then also the coaching thing, the mentoring thing, I
yeah,
learned from that all the time.
yeah,
And
yeah,
so for me, it wasn't hard for me to come up with that with that first and second episode, like as far as brainstorming, because I mean I see it, I've seen it. I just seen a
you're
lot of
living it.
things in this world. Yeah, I'm living it currently. Like I'm seeing it in real time.
Yeah,
And not only that, I'm talking with people and conversing with people, whether they're friends, family. It could be a stranger on the street.
yeah,
That fill my head with knowledge. I'm always ready to be open, receive knowledge, because you can learn from anybody.
right.
You can learn from anybody. So I feel like you always got to keep an open mind, and I feel like that also helps you check the pulse of the culture.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're
Mm-hmm.
talking to these different people, these different individuals, whether black, white, and you seeing all these different cultural backgrounds and seeing how they do things, and you can show them
Right.
how you do things, you kind of you build that I think they call it like cultural equity.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, so but for me, the main thing, one main thing was the experience. Just looking back on everything I've seen and learned, and just kind of placing it there. I've always had a lot of stuff in my head, so we
Yeah.
finally got to a place where I put it down on paper and let it flow.
And give it to the people.
Yeah,
That's what it's about. Like you said, you learned, through experiences, through living it.
yeah,
And I always say, like, we're not supposed to keep it to ourselves,
yeah,
because I mean,
yeah,
so many people were helped by those bridging the gap, those
yeah,
episodes, those two episodes.
yeah,
Um, and I didn't, like I said, I was just, I'm thinking like, oh, this is it's because one thing with the show, I always like to bring conversations to the platform that are not talked about enough. Like, I
right,
am
right,
intentional about
yeah,
that, right?
yeah,
And so usually, of course, it's the Women Can Do show, so
yeah,
usually it's women, but even as women, in order for us to grow, we need to, you know how to bridge the gap between
right,
genders, between us and men. You know what I mean?
right,
Between us and our children. You know what I mean? My
right,
generation, your generation. And so that's
hmm,
why
yep,
I decided, like, okay, this will be good, even though my following is mostly women, but we had,
yeah,
like, everybody, we had men and women tuning in
yeah, yep,
um to that series. And so, since we did so well, we are, just to let our viewers know,
yeah,
we are about to go full throttle
yeah,
with
full
it.
throttle.
That was kind of just a
Yep,
teaser, right?
yep,
Just so we just wanted to see how it does. And
yeah,
and like I said, we knew that this conversation was needed, but
right,
um we want to give the people what they need. So we had to
yeah,
see how this was going to play out, how the audience would receive it, and it was
yeah,
really received well. People were sharing it, reposting it, and we really appreciate it, because
yeah, you
again,
do.
it's not about bigging us up or making
Yeah,
us popular or whatever.
yeah,
This is a conversation that needs to be had.
need to be had.
And so
Yep,
we need to put it on these platforms. We need to create these spaces, and everybody know what I can do. We
yep,
are all about creating spaces
yep.
like this, right? Making room
Safe
for us,
spaces.
and creating spaces to raise awareness and inform
Yep,
and empower people. So again, like I
yeah,
said, we are going full throttle. We
yep.
have the next segment that Rashad is working on. So Rashad, just give us a little teaser, what's coming up on
Yeah.
our next set uh, from this series.
Right. Yeah. So this will be technically episode 3. Um, I think just how we were just kind of talking about just culture and everything. So, um, I think it was that day we got done recording the first 2 episodes. It was just something just flowing in me. It's kind of
Yeah,
like you got a hot hand, and so you
yeah,
need to use that hot hand while basically your mind is turning
right,
more than usual. So write this down, put
yeah,
it down so you won't forget it. Because you can write stuff down, but then or you can think of stuff and you won't write it down in the moment. And when you try to write it down later, you'll still write it down to a certain extent, but it won't be as fluid and prolific as your
right,
first raw thought. So that was kind of my thing. So when we left there, I was just like, you know, one of the things I've always focused on was um, our people, our culture, whether it's African Americans or even other minorities that are, mistreated or
yeah,
feel persecuted, in a lot of ways. And that's fair. And it's true. We have a lot of history to back that up.
yeah.
But I think we have to get uncomfortable with our conversations
That's
and
right.
talk about how we are doing it to each other,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's violence, whether it's manipulation, whether it's letting money be the root of the evil in the family or the
Yeah,
friendships. And
yeah,
I feel like we can't expect others to take us serious, when they turn around and see us killing each other, or
Yep.
not not supporting each other, or
Yeah.
jealousy amongst each other, when really it's enough. It's enough for us for us to all eat, is what I'm trying
Yeah.
to say. And
Yeah.
I think we lose the plot with that sometimes. And
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
need to consistently have that conversation, because a lot of the times we will have this conversation in our communities, and people don't, they turn their ears off for some reason.
Yep.
So we gotta keep continuing to stress that, not
Yeah.
just for us, but for the next generation, the current generations.
Right. Right. No, I agree, and it's true. Like we don't. That's a conversation. Like we shy away from that conversation.
Yeah,
The conversation of jealousy. It's
yeah,
rarely talked about. Like nobody wants
yeah,
to. Like everybody knows it, but nobody wants to
yeah,
talk about it. And so again, we need to bring. We need to put it all on the table. We need
yeah.
to put it
See,
all on
because
the table.
because to your jealousy point, just me personally, I've always been, ever since I could understand what the word jealousy means.
Hmm.
I could I had a hard time, still to this day. I have a hard time saying that word, but in
Yeah.
my heart and soul, sometimes I feel it. Like I'm like,
Mhm.
and we come from humble backgrounds, so we're kind of looking at it like, you don't need to be envious or jealous of me. Like
Yeah.
I don't, we don't think we're better than anybody or better than these people. So
Yeah. Yeah.
we here to embrace. So that, yeah,
Yeah.
that jealousy thing is, I guess we don't want to feel like we've been disrespectful, or
Hmm.
try to
People don't
try
want to
to
talk about it. They don't want to poke the bear.
yeah,
People don't want to poke
yeah,
the bear.
poke the
But
bear. But I mean, there's no right. There's every conversation ain't gonna be smooth sailing.
yeah.
So some of these conversations are gonna have pushback, and like we said on the first episode, the whys, and but it's up to us to keep our message consistent,
Yeah.
keep our message consistent, and also put the actions behind it as well.
Right. Yeah.
So you don't got to be jealous of me. There's not just me saying that. You can follow me and look and see how I may treat other people, or how,
Hmm.
when somebody else around me has success, I don't sit back and smack my lips. I want to support. I want to clap my
Yep.
hands. I want to have, cry happy tears with you.
Right.
So
Right. Yeah. Yeah. No. No. It's true. And like you said, we got to be willing to get uncomfortable. And
yeah,
there's a saying how in order to grow, you have be able to sit in your uncomfortableness. I can
yeah,
remember it's a quote from someone like you got to be willing to have those uncomfortable
yeah,
conversations and you can't be afraid to poke the bear. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like again, like I said, some people don't want to address it or have the conversation
yeah,
because they know it's going to make the other person uncomfortable or like you said,
yeah,
it may feel like a disrespectful conversation, but no, we need to start having, especially in our community, we got to start having these real conversations so we can
yeah.
grow.
We have to.
So we can grow
Yeah,
and unite and we will, I mean, we will all be better for it.
yeah,
Again, that's all part of bridging the gap. We got to bridge the gap between us at first,
yeah, yeah,
in our culture.
yep. That's where it starts. It starts at home.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's how life is. A lot of the time,
Yeah.
your outcome in life as you grow up, your results are, it's a product of your environment, your home foundations. What were your, what were your morals? What are your, what foundations are you standing on? And,
Yeah.
so we have to kind of carry those things. And um, I think, as the messengers, because in this case we're the messengers for this.
Right. Right.
I believe also we have to do our job of not worrying about the responses per se.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
so if we know certain
Yep.
people who may, we got an idea, they may not be too receiving of the conversation, doesn't mean that we don't need to keep expressing the issue.
Right.
Because I've learned, if we can spread the message around to so many people, and you have a handful of people who are still not receiving it, they're
Yeah.
going to start looking at these other people, and everybody's having the same conversations that we are having, and they're
Mm,
going to feel left out. They're
mm.
going to like, right, oh wow, maybe I'm looking at it wrong.
Yeah.
And so to,
So,
to to that
like
point,
you
yeah,
said, eventually it'll fall on their ears. You can
it's
have
all in
that
the air.
closed ear,
Yeah,
but eventually it's going to fall on your ear.
yeah, and because the messengers do matter.
Yeah.
Like I use this example all the time when it comes to Papa, God rest his soul.
Yeah.
My grandpa, he and it could be the most simplest of messages where like it could be a friend telling me, hey Shad, you need to do X, Y, Z. You know, as my friend, he's being honest with me, and I'm like, okay, I hear you. Yeah, okay, you know, it is what it is. I kind of brush it off,
Yeah.
and but then my grandpa will say the same thing,
Mm-hmm.
and it'll hit my ear so different. I'll go home and be like, and you know, I'm letting it marinate more, and it's the same exact thing my friend said, and so, but also that also taught me that my friend has my best interest in heart.
Yeah. Yeah.
If he's aligned with somebody that I hold in high regard, my grandpa,
Right.
I, I need to listen to this person too, instead
Yeah.
because then the opposite is worse.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Somebody enabling your irrational behavior instead of
Yeah.
telling you you need to kind of tone it down, tone it down.
Yep. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Yeah,
And that's the thing. You got to have that person. Like, everybody has to be accountable,
yeah.
right?
Oh yeah, yeah. That's the
To
word. Yeah,
somebody.
yeah, yep,
Everybody needs to be,
yep.
and I say this all the time, like, everybody needs an accountability partner. I have an accountability partner that will call me out on my stuff and do not care if I get mad.
Look, not
Um,
and not to cut you off real quick. To your point, the the camp last week that we do with Coach May,
yeah.
he did that exact thing with the kids. He grouped up all the kids by two and said, "These are your accountability partners. Hold them
Ah,
accountable." He just literally did that just last Wednesday.
oh wow,
Yeah.
wow.
Yep.
And that's good. Like, and I just love Coach May, and I love that
Yeah.
program
Yeah.
because
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, those the I'm envisioning these kids as adult. They're gonna we won't
Yeah.
have to have these conversations because they're gonna they're gonna
Yeah.
be equipped. They're If they're in
Yeah.
programs like the Project Blue, I Lead Academy.
Yeah.
If they're in programs like that where they're teaching you life skills and building character.
Yeah.
Yes, it's
Yeah.
true. They use basketball as a tool, but
Yeah.
um these kids, we won't need these conversations. Like, they're learning
Right.
it young, they're learning it earlier on, whereas that wasn't, those
Yeah.
resources weren't available years ago.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's a good point because like as parents and authority over children, and we all went through it as growing up as kids, teenagers, going into adults. Sometimes your parents' message falls on deaf ears because you're so used to hearing, your mom or your dad or both
Yep.
for however many years,
Right,
and
right.
sometimes it gets boring to our ears in a way. It's kind of like one ear and out the other. Not that we're
Yeah,
not trying to hear it, but it's kind of like ah. So that's why I've always felt that like coaches and school counselors and people like that are in
yeah,
leadership positions, they are so key because, like you said, they can work on the messages that as parents we can't seem to get through to them, to our
yeah,
kids.
yeah. Yeah. And again, like you said, these other we it's good to have these outlets. It's good to have
Yeah,
those coaches, uh mentors,
yeah,
because it takes the village. It's not, even
yeah,
people who don't have kids, it is still your responsibility
yeah,
to make an impact in a kid's life.
yeah,
It's and not just, our kid. I only have you. I only have
yeah.
one kid, but I've always made a point to pour into other kids' lives too.
Right.
It didn't
Yeah,
matter. Yeah, I have my own kid, but I've always given time, to other kids. So
yeah,
it's our responsibility. And again, it's good we have coaches and
yeah,
mentors and these
yep,
different programs now, and we're I'm starting to see that more. We're having those youth programs,
yeah,
to kind of build them up and to,
yeah,
grow them into, good citizens.
yeah. Because it kind of goes back to something I alluded to on the first episode we did
Mhm.
about how the strategies I may use to on how I approach the kids, or depending
Right.
on what emotional state the child is in, is depending on how I'm going to approach it. And I think that accountability thing is major. It's
Yeah.
major. And so if we can, because honestly, that's the word that kind of connects to that uncomfortable word, uncomfortable
Mm-hmm.
conversation term
Yep.
we're
Yep.
using. It's
Yeah.
accountability. It's we live in a world where we want to hold everybody else accountable,
Yep.
but then we don't want to take certain accountability,
Yeah.
and and so we kind of got to get out of that. And it starts with us, but it also starts with us pouring that into our kids, and
Right. Yeah.
kind of tackling it early. So when they as they're getting older, you don't got to talk to them too much about responsibilities and stuff like that.
Yeah.
My dad, he had me taking out trash, cutting the fronts and backyards at a young age, washing the
Yeah.
cars, not just to do the chores, but it was to realize responsibility
Yeah.
and realize, also accountability. Oh, your
Yeah.
room not clean. You need to take accountability for that and keep that tidy over there.
Yeah.
And so you kind of transfer that into adulthood, and then when you're able to pass it down, you've been through it,
Yeah.
so you can teach that to the kids because the result if they work at it is going to be amazing, and
Right.
they're going to come to you with so much gratitude, and you're going to see the growth
Yeah.
even at the camp we do now. It's kids that's been there for years, and just the growth, just from week to week, from year to year, it's like wow, like whatever we're doing is working.
It's working. Yeah.
It's working. Even coaching at Rosecrans Park just this
Mm-hmm.
last season, and I remember just working with little Phil
Yeah.
the whole season, just to try to get him just to
Shout
shoot
out
the
to
ball.
Phil.
Yeah, shout out to Phil,
My
and
little
just
nephew.
yeah, my little cousin, just just for him to shoot the ball, so he
Yeah.
could just to I wanted him to feel part of the team. I want
Yeah.
like he really didn't care like about shooting the
Yep.
ball.
Yep.
Yeah, he was still kind of timid, and so
Yeah.
when he finally made that shot towards the end of the season, I told myself, I said we could have went 0-8, 0-7 that whole season, and I still would have that moment right
That
there.
moment.
That moment means more than any win
Yeah.
because that's what we do it for.
Yeah.
That's what we do it for right there. We got like to make the kids believe
Yeah. Yeah.
because they need something to believe in. If we don't give them something to believe in, then we can't look at them and be like, "Why are you falling by the wayside?" Well, we didn't give them anything to stay afloat.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good example too. Like you said,
Yeah,
that moment like
yeah,
trumped every. If you guys had lost every game, that
yeah.
moment right
That
there.
moment.
You
Yep.
know,
And,
yeah,
and, and we all were more excited than he was. He kind of just
yeah,
treated it like hey, it is what it is. We
yeah,
was, I almost shed a tear because I'm like, man, it's a wonderful thing because that's why I think it might have been Kanye that alluded to enjoying the journey, the whole process
right.
of things. Because when he made that shot, the first thing I thought about was I was happy for him, but I thought about, man, I just every week practice. We
Yep.
come to practice, and he would make the shots in practice and have all the confidence in the world. And so
Yeah.
I'm just like week to week to week, and then so when he finally shot it, it was just like when he let it go, I just kind of had a feeling it was going in. Because I feel
Yeah.
like it's because these kids work hard, so they deserve to have those moments.
Yeah.
And so that, and not just that, but it makes the rest of the team happy.
Right. Exactly.
And so it creates a close knit bond that
Yeah.
they'll now he can look back and I remember when I made my first shot.
Right.
He can look back on those things.
And you know what's interesting about that too? It like you said, it made the rest of the kids happy, and they were.
Yeah,
Everybody was so. And
yeah,
again, it goes into what we're going to end up talking about, how everybody was so happy for his win. You know what I
yeah.
mean?
There's one. Yep.
That was a win for him. That was a
Yeah,
moment, and
yeah,
the team, and again, that's where the whole bridging the gap within
yeah,
our culture is becoming this team.
yeah,
This
yeah,
we need to become this cohesive
yeah,
team.
yeah,
And so that's a prime example of it with, showing them as kids that,
yeah,
so they'll adapt to that. So they'll know, look, this is what a team is. We,
yeah,
even if we lose,
yeah,
so what? But our teammate had a moment.
in the
let's
moment. Yep.
champion our teammate right
Yeah.
now. Let's enjoy that moment with him. That's a good example of that. Yeah.
Yeah. Because the biggest message in that is celebrate those small wins.
Yeah.
Even
Yeah.
though it was just 2 points, it felt like 100 to him.
It
It felt
did.
like
Yeah.
100 points to the team.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's about those small wins. Yeah, we
Yeah.
want to win, but even though and don't get me wrong, winning just in life, not even just sports, but just winning in life is always one of our priorities.
Yeah. That's the
But
goal. Yeah.
I think we like we'll be on that road, and then the winning will go like this, and then we'll forget about, oh, we're supposed to be improving every day as a person, as individuals
Yeah.
at the same time too. So
Mm-hmm.
we'll keep going with the winning, not
Yep.
even knowing I didn't build selfish tendencies, or I didn't
Yeah.
become this selfish person, and I didn't kind of focus a little too much on me
Yeah.
instead of focusing on not just how I can be better, but how I can inspire others to be better.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Because if everybody else around you is good, then it just makes your world that much better.
Right. Right.
You don't got to look for motivation or inspiration. It's all over.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's like that saying, it's lonely at the top.
Yeah,
Who wants to be at the
yeah,
top? Like, I don't want to be the only one winning. And I
yeah,
remember I've been like that since a kid. Like, I wanted all my friends and cousins, whoever was hanging with me, I wanted
yeah,
everybody to win. Like, and I'm
yeah,
still like that. Like, I
yeah,
want who wants to be in the who wants to win by themselves? What does it
yeah.
look like if you're at the game, the NBA championship, and you're on the floor by yourself
Don't feel by
with
yourself.
no team, but you
Yeah,
won? That
yeah,
has to be can you imagine on that big floor, the lights, and
yeah,
it's just you? That has to be the loneliest feeling
yeah. The lonely
in the
feeling.
world.
Yeah. Yep. Definitely. Yep. Definitely. So I think those are some of the things that we'll definitely touch on, along with
Yeah,
a lot of other things. I've
yeah,
been writing almost every day. So
yeah,
um, this next episode is definitely, we're gonna get into like the meat and potatoes of a lot of things, because this episode is more, um, I would say, kind of like, what's the word? It's like it's less like we have more things to focus on just directly in this one. Kind of how
yeah.
the first couple episodes we kind of branched off to a lot of different things.
Right, right. Yeah, yeah,
At
yeah.
this point, it's just cultural.
Yep,
So we sticking it right here. We stick to it right here, and we're gonna
yep. Pick it
expound
apart.
on it. Yeah, just
Yeah,
pick it apart, and um, that's the beauty of, we all have experience with the culture, and
yeah,
whether it's how you grew up in your era and in your time, how things were compared to how things are now. So I'm definitely excited for this one. I was excited. I remember I called you.
yeah,
Uh, I called you because I was sitting there. I'm so excited. I was so excited. I had to call her and let her know so I can just put it in your ear.
yeah,
Like, and I don't even think that you gave me a date for us to go to the
yeah.
studio. Yeah, and I'm
No, I
like,
did.
let me.
I think it was the next day. You were like,
Yeah, it might have been,
okay.
the next day. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, the next day you were like,
yeah,
okay, you was like, okay, I think the next one we're gonna do this. You kind
yeah.
of
Yep.
kind of running it, everything by me, and you were
Yeah.
like, when are we going back in the studio?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
Because I the kind of how you said, like, don't keep things.
Mm-mm.
I remember my
Yeah,
coaches used to say gems are made to be dropped,
that's
passed
right.
down.
And we
And
gotta
so
keep, yeah,
yeah, when I'm
we
in that
gotta keep
moment of,
dropping it. Yeah,
yeah,
we gotta keep, and like I said, people loved it. Like, we
yeah,
got like great reviews, and people loved it.
yeah,
So we're gonna keep these conversations going. I
definitely,
see this growing really big, and
yeah,
big in a way. I think it's gonna make a big impact. So I'm not talking like big
yeah,
in numbers. Of course, everybody wants numbers, right?
yeah,
But I see it growing big in impact. Like, I think it's really gonna start making people think.
yeah,
It's really gonna make people kind of take a look at themselves. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah,
And just think about art, because if each one of us takes a look at ourselves and see the growth that we need to do, and then and we start working on ourselves, then that's
Yeah.
when we can all kind of bridge our culture
Yep.
together. Yeah.
Yep. And learn. Yep. And learn from each other. And like you
Yeah.
said, it doesn't have to be an impact of. I mean, that would be nice, of course, to impact everything in the world if we
Sure. Right.
could, but just impacting our communities around us. That's
Yeah.
that's what
Yeah.
we won. We
Yeah.
won. Like it's so that's the goal. So I agree. That's what we're gonna keep pushing. Because in
Yeah.
the world we live in today of chaos and a lot of negative conversations and things like that.
Yeah.
I think that's why we're getting a lot of good feedback is because it's we're bringing something refreshing
Yeah. Yeah.
to the conversation and people know that it's genuine.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
So I'm definitely looking forward to it.
Yep. So I'm excited about it. So
Yeah.
to our viewers, we are coming back. You already heard Rashad. It's getting better and better. We're gonna
Yeah.
really go deep. We're gonna have these much needed conversations. We're gonna all grow together, and
Yeah.
that's what it's about. We're, of course, it's us coming together to the table
Hmm.
to have this conversation, but
Yeah.
the ultimate goal is for us all to grow together. So be
Yeah.
sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel if you are on here, and spread the word,
Click
because
that button.
click that button, that subscribe button. You're already on here, so click the button.
Russell, go
And
ahead.
then I think the share button, the share thing, click that share and
Yep.
copy that link and text it to everybody you know. Email
Yep.
it to everybody you know, because the Bridging the Gap series is official. And
Yeah. He's taking off.
we got a bunch of episodes coming. It's gonna
Yeah.
be good. Yeah.
Yeah. Shout out to everybody tuning in. Shout out to everybody who supported. That's we never forget that. We never forget the supporters.
Yeah.
Um, at the end of the day, we do this to hopefully give whoever's watching and listening some good food for thought and something that they may have needed to hear. So, again, I appreciate everybody.
Well, thank you again for tuning this new series that we just dropped. I just kind of wanted to bring him in and
Yeah,
do like a recap of it, and so he could share what's to come, because again, he's putting this all together. So he's really cooking up something good. So we will be back. Spread the word. Bridging the Gap is official. It's here. And it will be on Saturdays. We will be drop in the next date. So
yeah,
stay tuned. But again, you got to subscribe to our YouTube channel, because that's
yeah.
where
Hit that button.
that's what this baby will be. It was birthed on the YouTube channel, and this is where it
Yep.
will be growing. All right. So thank you all again for tuning in to another episode of the Women Can Do Show. I am your host, Rashel. My son Rashad, we thank you so much for taking the time to come on. We know, like I said, this is the Women Can Do Show, but this is my show, so I can bring my son on.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, who's gonna say something?
Who wanted to say that?
Who's gonna say something?
For the women that are thinking that, what is the man doing on
Yeah,
the show?
we here to support the women. We here to support the women.
Because they support me. They support the I
Yeah,
Can Do Women movement.
yeah,
Um, And just so for those who didn't attend the conference, he received the award. He was one of the
yeah,
recipients of the award, named after my dad, the Burnell Sawyer Senior I Can Do uh, Men of the Movement Award, because he is one of the three men, besides my husband, my nephew Malik, that
yeah,
really have been behind me from day one, pushing this movement forward. And so I'm always looking for ways to make them, bring them in, and just make them a part of this. And when
yeah.
the idea, like I said, with the Bridging the Gap came up, it was no other choice but them. So uh thank you again for everything that you do to support I Can Do, to
Always.
support at produce the Women Can Do
Thank you.
show,
Thank you.
and
Thank
all
you
the
for giving me a
things,
chance. Thank you.
So again, to our viewers, thank you for tuning in. And just remember, to where you're over the hump. It's Wednesday, right? You're over the hump. Remember, as I always say, be sure Friday that your status is going to be that I finished my week strong. God bless you all. Have a blessed evening. Bye.
Bye.